Fine. To begin with, I'll just start with something called as the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy. Now, what is this? Is it real? Like, is vaccine hesitancy real? If you're listening to me right now and you're not vaccinated yet, considering the very fact that you might have got a vaccine slot, if you're eligible for the vaccine and still have not got the vaccine due to any reason, then yes, you're suffering with a disease called as vaccine hesitancy. You need to get rid of it as soon as possible. Do you people remember 2020? Touch your heart, and then tell me how many of you have prayed that when would the vaccine be released? When do you get the first vaccine that you can go and take it? The whole of 2020, we have passed out like that, thinking that yes, vaccines would come in and then they would stop and then save us from this pandemic. But then now, since the beginning of Jan 2021, since the government of India has introduced all the vaccines, even now, even it being the June of 2021, we do have quite a few people who are still hesitant to take the vaccine. So, why would somebody be hesitant? People still think that they are being the first to take a vaccine. People think they are being considered as a guinea pig or a lab rat on whom vaccines are being tried. People think that the vaccines are being rushed. They don't know much about the safety, side effect profile. Not much details are being known to people about the vaccine trials because they don't try to know. Some of them may have a whole new list of questions, thinking like how much protective a vaccine could be, how long the protection could last, and can I have it or can I take the vaccine if I have A, B, C, D, E, Z, whatever till Z. You have umpteen questions, and I will try to clear as many as possible that I have come across or people have asked me. And then at the end of the session, what we would try to do is like if people have questions, they can just put it into the comments box, and then we can try to see how many we can sort out. So to start with, why should somebody get vaccinated? What would a vaccine do or help? Yes, you need to get vaccinated so that you prevent getting infected with COVID, to protect yourself, your family, to keep your residents safe, and then to stop the spread in the community. You would want to set an example for others, including your residents, family, co-workers, and the community. Obviously, you would want to be able to visit family and friends again. You would want to return to your office. You would want your children to go back to school. You would want to do the activities that you have been restricted to do yet. Now, if you all know, from May 1st, all the eligible citizens in India above the age of 18 years are now allowed to take the COVID-19 vaccine, which should be one more reason as to why all of you should go out and get vaccinated. If all of this is not enough, then just look at these numbers. We've lost 3,51,344 people, a near dear father, everybody we have lost to this pandemic who so to begin with, a few general questions that I would try to elaborate. What are vaccines? How are vaccines made? A vaccine is nothing but a small subunit or a part of the virus which is inactivated and then introduced in your body such that your body produces antibody and protective mechanisms against that particular virus, such that when you get infected with the real COVID virus, you do not develop a severe disease and then it doesn't lead to mortality. So a vaccine is nothing but a tiny, weakened, non-dangerous fragment of the organism and includes part of the antigen. That small part is enough so that our body can learn and build the specific antibody. If the body encounters the real antigen later as a part of the infection, it already knows how to deal with it. So basically, you're priming your body to develop antibodies which will fight against a new infection. So you may ask, like, there's so many vaccine trials going on, but then why? Why only 2 or 3 vaccines are ready yet only? Now, if you start the count, then a total of 287 vaccines are in trial, of which 102 are in clinical phase trials. Now, of all the trials that are happening on animals, only 7 out of every 100 would be considered to move into clinical trials of humans. Whereas out of these, only 1 in 5 is successful. That's why in India, you have only the Covishield, Covaxin, and then now you have the Sputnik 5 coming in. So we have only 3 vaccines in India which are registered till now. In the US, maybe, yes, in the US also, you only have 3 till now. That would be the Pfizer, and then the Moderna, and then I think the Johnson and Johnson. Are COVID vaccines safe? Yes. Each vaccine has been tried on proper clinical trials before the safety and efficacy of the vaccines have been released, especially in India, by the drug regulator before granting license for the same. And as and when still the vaccines are being given, the monitoring of safety will continue. Why should you trust the COVID vaccine? Yes, a lot of science has gone into it, a lot of regulation has gone into it, rigorous assessments of lab and clinical data, including the quality, safety, production, and the protective antibodies efficacy is being checked even before the vaccine is given for administration. Will the COVID-19 vaccines in India be as efficacious as developed by any other countries? Yes. You may ask, like normally a vaccine would take years and years. How come the COVID vaccine was developed under 1 year? Yes. Now, what has happened is the scientists in the lab, the global efforts put across all the countries throughout the world, they have focused on this single tasks. Regulatory approvals, which take several months, have been fast tracked. A lot of manpower, resources, money, knowledge, technology has gone in. And then you've got a large pool of adult volunteer participants participating in trials, because of which something that would take years has now been fitted into months. And then now we have started getting vaccine one by one. You might have heard that something called as emergency use authorization is being given for a vaccine. What does it mean? It means that when there has been an outbreak of a disease, the need to use a vaccine quickly is very important. This is very important because you want to save lives during a public health emergency. But remember that if there's an emergency use authorization, no steps are skipped in. And at every step, each safety level would be assessed before giving the vaccine. It does not imply that the authorization was done too quickly or the vaccine is not safe. You might have heard that vaccines are in clinical trials. Most of the vaccines have cleared up phase 1 and phase 2. Covishield has cleared phase 3, and Covaxin is in the middle of phase 3 clinical trial. So what is a clinical trial? In clinical trials, you have something called as preclinical, in which the trials happen on animals. The phase 1, in which you have a small number of human participants, wherein you assess the vaccine safety, immune response, and determine the right doses. This happens for a short duration. A phase 2 clinical trial, you have few hundred participants. Here also you assess the safety and the ability of the vaccine to generate an immune response. Whereas a phase 3, it's a huge clinical trial. You have thousands of participants, wherein you want to determine the vaccine effectiveness against the disease and the safety in a larger group of people. This takes time, minimum of 1 to 2 years. So, what are the vaccines that are regulated in India right now? First, as you all know, it's the Covishield, which is the AstraZeneca's vaccine manufactured by SII. Second one is the Covaxin, the indigenous Indian vaccine manufactured by Bharat Biotech. And the third one, which has been recently introduced into India, is the Sputnik 5. Talking about the two most commonly used vaccines right now in India, that is the Covishield and Covaxin. Covishield is a viral vector-based vaccine, whereas the Covaxin is a whole virion inactivated vaccine. Now remember, both these vaccines do not contain a live virus. One of it contains a portion or a subunit of the protein of the virus. The other one is the whole virus, which has been weakened or inactivated such that the virus, once introduced in the body, does not cause the disease as such, but it is enough. This introduction of the virus is enough for the body to develop antibodies such that you develop an immunity to that particular infection. Now, when we are considering about the number of doses, yes, both have like the first dose and then the second dose. For Covishield, now the duration between first dose and second dose is around 12 to 16 weeks. That's 3 to 4 months. And for Covaxin, you have around 1 to 2 months of a difference between the first and the second dose. As far as the efficacy is concerned, the Covishield promises an efficacy of around 70 to 90%, according to the phase 3 trials. And the Covaxin, as per the interim data that has come out from the phase 3 trials that are still ongoing, 81% efficacy is being promised. Now, what do you mean by this efficacy? It means that if there are 100 people, around 70 to 90% of them would most probably be protected from the disease, such that these people don't develop a severe disease, and then the mortality and morbidity is the least. Now, does it mean that the rest of the 10-20% like get infected and then have a severe infection? No. It means that even if you have one of these vaccines, it is not necessary that you might develop a complete immunity, but you might develop an immunity enough for you not to land up in a severe COVID disease. Hence, either of the vaccines, either Covishield or Covaxin, is very important for you to prevent the infection. Now, the contents of each vaccine, Covishield and Covaxin, I would not list it out completely, but then just do remember, because this slide may be referred later when I'm talking something about adverse effects or the anaphylactic reactions. So what does Covishield contain? It's a viral vector vaccine. You have the inactivated adenovirus in which segments of coronavirus are introduced. Apart from that, you have chemicals like the aluminum hydroxide, L-histidine hydrochloride, magnesium chloride, polysorbate, ethanol, sucrose, sodium chloride, and disodium edited dihydrate. Now, these contents of the vaccine are there even in the vaccine fact sheets that you can find it anywhere. Why I'm telling you this, you will come to know soon. Coming to the side effect profile. Now, this is what everybody talks about. The moment you have a vaccine shot, you start experiencing these side effects within a few hours to up to 1 day, up to 2 days. Now, what are the side effects that you can see? Some mild symptoms may occur for Covishield, like you have the injection site pain or tenderness, you have a headache, fatigue, myalgia, malaise, pyrexia, chills, arthralgia, and nausea. Basically, you would have some fever with chills, with a feeling of cold, body aches, and weakness. Very rare events have been reported, but till now, none of the side effects that have been reported in media have been coordinated directly to the vaccine as such. Even Covaxin would give you some similar kind of side effects that could be injection site pain, headache, fatigue, fever, body ache, pain, abdomen. Some of them would cause diarrhea, tremor, sweating, cold, cough, and swelling on the injection site. As far as Covaxin is concerned, no other vaccine related serious effects have been observed. So you've taken the vaccine, you've started developing side effects. Is it normal? Yes, it is. Now, vaccines are designed to give you the immunity without the dangers of the disease. It is important that you should know that it is common to experience a mild to moderate side effects while receiving the vaccine. You've got a vaccine, you will have the side effect. What is happening when you're having the side effect? Your immune system is instructing your body to react in certain ways. What does it do? It increases the blood flow so that more immune cells can circulate, and this raises your body temperature in order to kill the virus. Hence, the mild and moderate side effects are normal. They are not a cause for alarm. Side effects are a sign that the body's immune system is responding to a vaccine's antigen. These side effects usually go away on their own after a few days, possibly after 48 hours. Most of you might not even have any residual side effects. Remember, side effects are a good thing. They show us that vaccines are working. Side effects are not bad. Saying this, it doesn't mean that if you don't have side effects, doesn't mean that the vaccine is ineffective. Each one responds differently. Now, Covaxin versus Covishield, you might have seen many studies that are still ongoing and then would be coming out every other day. Just day before, you had a study saying that Covishield produces more antibodies than Covaxin. You will also find that a Covishield study says that it protects you from mutants. Simultaneously, you'll have a Covaxin study saying that it is active against the XYZ mutations or the variants that are being introduced. And not last but the least, the Sputnik 5 vaccine has also appeared to be safe and effective in various studies across the country. Does it mean which vaccine is better than Covishield, between Covishield and Covaxin? Can you choose? Not really. Till now, there has been no head-to-head comparison done between the two vaccines being used in India. Hence, you cannot choose one over the other. Basically, both vaccines have an efficacy factor of around more than 80%. Both would work fine in preventing the infection as well as preventing a person from going into severe state of the disease. And they would prevent death for for elderly people and for those who have comorbidities. Knowing this, you would want to know who should not be taking the vaccine. So what are the contraindications? When should you not take the vaccine? So first group of people would be anybody who has had an anaphylactic or allergic reaction to a previous dose of COVID-19 vaccine. You've taken the first dose, you've had a severe allergic reaction, hold on to the second dose. Do not take it. If you've had an immediate or delayed onset anaphylaxis or allergic reaction to any previous vaccine or to any of the contents of the COVID vaccine. Now, this is where the contents of the COVID vaccine is important. If you feel that you've had some allergy before, or you don't know what you're allergic to, just see the vaccine fact sheets. It's available online. You can just go to the website of Bharat Biotech or Serum Institute of India. You have the vaccine fact sheets in which you have been given the contents of the COVID vaccines in each vaccine. What you can see is if any of the contents of the vaccine that are mentioned in the fact sheets, if you have been allergic to that before, try not to take that particular vaccine. Second one, contraindication as of today is pregnancy. Yes, women who are currently pregnant or who are not sure of that pregnancy should not receive COVID-19 vaccine at this point of time currently. What are the temporary contraindications? Yes, these are the temporary contraindications wherein you are temporarily not allowed to take a COVID vaccine. This could be when you're having an active COVID-19 infection. If you're infected now, you'll have to wait. If you've received the monoclonal antibodies, you'll have to wait. If you've received plasma, you have to wait. If you have been acutely unwell, if you've been hospitalized with or without an ICU care, just hold on. Just hold on. Do not rush for the vaccine. So these are the group of people who should not be having the vaccine. Rest of them, you don't have a reason not to take a vaccine. Now, coming to the questions one by one, slow and steady. When and how long will I be protected by the vaccine? Yes. Now, it takes up to 2 to 3 weeks for an adequate immune response to develop after the second dose of each of the vaccine, which means that if you've taken your first dose, you've taken your second dose, 2 to 3 weeks after your second dose, yes, you can expect adequate immune response and protection to start developing. How long will I be protected? Now, the longevity or the duration of the immune response is yet to be determined. Now, this is COVID is new, COVID vaccines are new. Everything is a trial and then now being determined as per the studies that are happening currently. You may like need to have a yearly vaccine shot like how you get it for flu. As you all know, a flu shot, a new version of the flu shot is released every year. It may be possible that you may get a new COVID vaccine update every year and then you're supposed to have it yearly. Yes, you've taken the vaccine, you've done first dose, second dose. Do you still need to take protection? Will you still need to wear a mask? Yes. Now, it is still absolutely necessary that everyone who has received the COVID-19 vaccine should still follow the COVID-19 appropriate behavior, that is, wearing a mask, appropriate social distancing, hand sanitization, and protect yourself and others. What about the second dose? Are you supposed to take the second dose or is one dose enough? No, one dose is not enough. You must take the second dose. The vaccine will not protect you. You will not have sufficient antibodies if you're just done with one dose. And remember, do not mix and match the vaccine. If you've taken Covishield first, you're supposed to take Covishield second. If you've taken Covaxin first, take Covaxin for the second dose. You cannot interchange the vaccines for your first and second dose. Mutants, variants of concern. You've heard all about this all over the news. Yes, they are a cause of concern. But does the vaccine help? Yes. Remember that whichever vaccine you take, the vaccine causes the body to respond by making more than one type of antibody. It's not just against the spike protein that you'll develop the antibody against. You might develop a lot of antibodies for which we are not even testing. Hence, all the vaccines that have been introduced till now provide a reasonable amount of protection against the mutated virus also. And based on the current available data, the mutations that are being introduced one after the other are unlikely to make the vaccine ineffective. But just in case there could be some mutants or variants that are escaping the vaccine, it is very much possible to alter the composition of the vaccine such that the vaccine is now more efficacious after the changes to handle the variants of concern. Another frequently asked question: if somebody is suffering from hypertension, diabetes, chronic kidney disease, heart disease, lipid disorders, hyperlipidemia, dyslipidemia, or if I'm taking some medicine for cancer, diabetes, hypertension, can they take COVID vaccine? Yes, they can, and they should actually, because these people come under the high risk category. The vaccine is safe and efficacious in all these adults with comorbidity. You can actually continue your medications, whatever medications, long-term chronic medications you've been taking, you can continue taking them. But it's just that you can inform your physician, your consulting physician, that yes, these are the medications I am on, and then I'm planning to take a vaccine. Remember, the maximum benefit of COVID-19 vaccine is for these listed people, and this reduces the risk of severe COVID-19 disease and even death. So what are the high risk groups? If you have some time ago filled a form wherein you wanted a vaccine between the 45 plus, wherein not everybody was allowed, you might have seen that, yes, you've ticked something on diabetes, hypertension, heart failure, transplants, coronary artery disease, a documented stroke, any organ transplant, end stage kidney disease on hemodialysis or CAPD, you've been on steroids or any immunosuppressants, you've got a liver cirrhosis, suffering from any cancer, lymphoma, leukemia, myeloma, any blood disorder, HIV, or persons with disabilities. These are all considered to be a high risk group, and these are the ones who should go and actually take the vaccines first. Can I get COVID from the COVID-19 vaccines? A common question. No. The vaccines do not contain, any of the vaccines do not contain a live virus. You cannot take the vaccine. Sorry. Can the COVID-19 vaccine cause a positive test? The test detects the virus, not the antibodies or the immunity. That's why if you've been vaccinated, your PCR or rapid antigen test will not come out positive. Somebody has asked this, will COVID-19 vaccine change my DNA? This is more relevant for like places like the US or the EU, wherein they're using mRNA vaccines. But still, wherever it is, no, the COVID vaccines do not change or interact with your DNA in any way. Hence, your DNA will not get altered. There has been a concern, especially with Covishield, regarding bleeding or coagulation disorders. There have been reports wherein people have complained of clotting and bleeding disorders leading to mortality and morbidity. Now, the facts say that some bleeding disorder like hemophilia, yes, it's a cause of concern. Before taking a vaccine, you should consult a physician. If you're a patient admitted in the hospital or the ICU and have bleeding problems, just delay the vaccination till you're discharged. For other people who have heart and brain disorders, who are on COVID, blood thinners like aspirin or any other antiplatelet drugs like clopidogrel, you can continue your medications and take the vaccine. It is absolutely safe. So there is the differentiation. Bleeding disorders, which are proven, something like hemophilia, if you're hospitalized and have bleeding issues, wait. Whereas if you're fine with known like heart and brain disorders and you're on aspirin or any other drugs, you can take the vaccine. It is safe. There has been no scientific evidence that clotting episodes are directly related to any vaccine. Another special circumstance. What if I have COVID 19? Can I take the vaccine? No. If you've got, if you've got COVID now, defer the vaccination by 3 months. This is the latest Ministry of Health and Family Welfare Government of India guideline released on 19th May, which says that if you have an active COVID infection, just postpone your vaccination by 3 months from your recovery. And then, yes, after that, you can take the vaccine. Second question. You've done your first dose. Now you've got COVID. What to do? Postpone your second dose by 3 months. The latest guideline says that if you've got infected with COVID after your first dose, just hold on for 3 months and then you can take your second dose. You've recovered from COVID infection in the past, you had some time long ago or recently, just maybe 3 months or beyond, you've had a COVID infection. Can you have a vaccine now? Yes, you can take it right away. Does it help? Yes. Even if you've recovered from a COVID infection, it is not established that the development of immunity or the duration of protection after an actual infection, whether is enough to protect you or how much is the longevity of the protection, that is not proved till now. Hence, you need to take the vaccine. It actually helps you develop strong immune response against the disease. Now, few of other common questions. Does the vaccine affect menstrual cycles or periods? No. Currently, there are a lot of studies going on, and none of them have showed that there is any impact on the gynecological health of women or her periods. We don't see any side effects on women getting vaccinated during the menstrual cycle either. So if you have your periods, you can still get vaccinated, and then your vaccination does not affect the menstrual cycle either. Can I plan a baby if I'm getting vaccinated? Okay, now COVID-19 infection in pregnancy is very serious. Having an infection during pregnancy is bad. So what you can do, you can at least get prevented before you plan your pregnancy. The benefits of getting the vaccine outweigh the risks. Hence, women should get vaccinated before getting pregnant. If you're planning a pregnancy, just hold on the planning for around 3 months from your second dose. Take the first shot, take the second shot, 3 months post the second shot, you can plan the pregnancy. You're already pregnant. Can you get vaccinated? Maybe not. Right now, there are no specific recommendations from the government of India. Actually, there's not enough data on the vaccine's impact on pregnant women. Hence, there has been no standard guideline, at least in India, which says that yes, pregnant women can get vaccinated. Hold on, not right now. Whereas in the US, yes, especially with the Pfizer vaccine, women are getting vaccinated. There have been thousands and thousands of pregnant women who have got vaccinated. But then the efficacy and the safety of their vaccine in pregnant women has been proven, whereas in India, we are still in trials. But you have something better. Somebody is lactating or breastfeeding, can she get vaccinated? Now, as per the latest guideline, according to the government of India, yes, vaccination for lactating women is actually recommended. Even the WHO recommends that lactating women should be vaccinated. If you're breastfeeding, you should or and can be vaccinated. The breastfeeding can continue even after you vaccinate. Remember, breastfeeding remains one of the best ways to protect your child from diseases and to help them stay healthy. So now with relation to pregnancy and breastfeeding, if you're pregnant, hold on till you deliver. Once you've delivered, what is the nearest or the soonest that you can take the vaccine? Immediately. Once you've delivered the baby, the fetus is no longer into you, and then so the fetus is not at the direct or indirect risk of the side effects of the vaccine. Once you've delivered, you can take the vaccine and you can continue even while breastfeeding or lactation. There wouldn't be any harm to the baby. One more question people have asked is, would the protective antibodies be passed on to the baby once the mother is being vaccinated? Yes. The mother's antibodies would be passed on to the child even after the mother has been vaccinated. But this hasn't been proven yet for COVID. This has been proven before for other vaccines. What about vaccines for children? Now, at least in India, it has not been evaluated to assess the safety and efficacy in pediatric population. There are two trials currently undergoing, being taken in India. One is the Bharat Biotech's Covaxin, and the second one is Zydus Cadila's Zycovir-D. There have been studies, including Covaxin in pediatrics, which are in phase 2 and phase 3 clinical trials for children aged between 2 years and 18 years. So yes, vaccine for children are on the way, and then they would come very soon. Whereas in other countries, now recently, just a day ago, China has authorized the vaccine to be given to children who are as young as 3 years. Now, other countries like US have authorized their vaccines for children above 12 years. Some of them have ranged it between 3 to 12 to 18 years. But then again, unless and until there has been a proper efficacy profile and studies done, it's not very safe for us to vaccinate our children. That is why in India, we still have the trials going on and then no vaccine has been recommended for children yet. About allergies, yes. You should not get vaccine if you have had any history of severe allergic reaction to any of the ingredients of the vaccine that have been mentioned. Or if you've had a history of severe allergic reaction to something that is not there in the vaccine, you need to discuss with your consultant before receiving the vaccine. Now, you might have wondered, why would somebody ask you to wait for 30 minutes after the vaccine? Wherever, if you've got vaccinated or if you've seen people get vaccinated, they have asked you to wait for around half an hour to 1 hour in the facility, because they would want to see if any patient has been reacting anaphylactically to the vaccine, so that the particular person can get medical assistance as soon as possible. Now, from whatever I have shared till now has not been from any unauthorized source. It is very important that whatever information you want, please take it from reliable sources. Media, social media is full of misinformation and opinions based on that misinformation. This could be one reason why somebody who would want to take a vaccine could just like move away from the vaccination because they've heard something from something or somewhere which would keep them away from the vaccine. If you really want authentic information, you can just visit the websites. There's a whole lot of information available on the websites of Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, the ICMR, the WHO, CDC, and UNICEF. Just hit on Google for these words, and then you can follow these words followed by the search term as COVID vaccine. You'll find a lot of information. Thank you for your patient listening. I am open for questions now, but just remember, vaccination will keep you, your family, and the whole community safe from COVID-19. It will help us bring us all closer to do the things we love with the people we care about. Thank you. I'm open for questions.
Thank you, Dr. Vijendra. I can't tell you how beautifully and comprehensively you've conveyed everything about vaccines. I had many doubts about it, and those have got cleared. I'm sure all the members have the same feeling. It was really comprehensive, very, very informative. Thanks a lot for that. I haven't yet seen many questions pouring in, although there was one question that was asked. That is, if the vaccine is safe in a patient who's had multiple progressive sclerosis.
Okay.
Yes, so that's one question that I came across in the chat box.
Mm, should be okay, because multiple sclerosis, unless you're taking some drugs or if you've had any medication containing the contents of the vaccine, with specific regard to multiple sclerosis, till now there hasn't been any guideline or word saying like you shouldn't be taking the vaccine. So
Okay,
yes,
sir.
you should.
Okay, sir. Anybody else having questions, please post in the chat box and we shall answer them shortly. I shall request Dr. Vijayendra to answer them. Any questions, members, please?
I have one question for Dr. Vijender. Now, as you know that we are going to second
Bhabhi?
dose of vaccine of Covishield.
Sorry,
can't-
Bhabhi, we couldn't hear the question properly. Please एक बार repeat कर सकते हैं?
Hello. Varun vaccination drive. Madina completed. So should we go for the vaccine?
Bhabhi, I think there's been some problem in connection. We haven't been able to understand your question. आप एक बार या तो type कर दे सकते हैं क्या, please?
And Iram, if you can stop sharing the screen, we can have
Sure.
more interaction.
I'll do that.
Update is some 84 days.
I think we'll wait for Maria to type her question. क्योंकि
जी, उमेर भैया. And Umer bhaiya, Hafsa ji, any questions that you want to ask or anything that we think that the public might be wanting to know?
we can ask questions, but first, congratulations to Access and to Dr. Vijayendra. Vijayendra, that was extremely well articulated, simple, sensible answers to the most common questions that come up, and an acknowledgement there of how little we know about the virus itself and the vaccine, and how we are learning more and more about it.
Thank you.
So, yes, thank you for that. In terms of children, you've highlighted, I think, again, very sensibly about why we are not rushing to vaccinate our children. A comment from you, then I can also comment after that about specifically about children.
It's in many countries now. If you just try to search the list of countries, what I was doing is while I was preparing for this talk, I just saw how many countries are now actually vaccinating children. You'll be surprised to see there are some 20 or 30 countries which are already vaccinating children. And then 12 plus is a very common age now that people are vaccinating children. There are a few countries who are vaccinating children above 3 plus. Now, what they have done is possibly they've had trials which have proven to be like effective for children. But then at least in India, the only studies that have been happening is with the Zydus vaccine and the Covaxin rather. And then that have just recently started a couple of months ago. That would take another 4 months to finish. These trials are around 6 months, and only once the efficacy is proven, only then they'll be out in India.
Yeah. So would you, just for everyone as well, would you agree in terms of, so above 12, I agree totally, because most guidelines generally when you're treating pediatric children, treating children is above 12 can be considered as adults. For example, the resuscitation guidelines, they would classify above 12 as the same algorithms for the adults. So above 12 is fine. For less than 12, a bit of caution until we get more data is what I would say. Also, because the risk or the severity of the infection, much milder in children. We don't have to be as worried or rush for vaccinating children less than 12 until we get some more studies.
Yes, that is there. But then now, according to what people have been talking around about how WHO has been already indicating that a possible third wave, if it happens, would be more of children. So yes, we have to wait for the vaccine and then make sure that if it is released, we'd have to get the kids vaccinated.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, and Maria Bhabhi has typed her question. She's asking if it is okay to take the vaccine or the second shot around maybe 80 days after the first shot, or do you necessarily have to wait for 84 days? And if it's okay to take, will they still get the certificate if they take before the stipulated time of 84 days or at around maybe 80 days after the first shot? Is it okay?
Okay, this is two parts of the question. One is the clinical part of it. The clinical part of it, number of days, it's okay. The very fact that the number of days has now become 84 is a very recent development. Like people have been taking vaccine of the second dose even at the end of 1 month, and then nothing harmful has happened. So yes, there wouldn't be any harm if you've taken your vaccine before your 84 days. As far as the efficacy is concerned, we have had people who have taken vaccine at the end of 1 month, at the second month, and then now being the third month. All of them are now showing protective response. It's just about developing the right amount of antibodies. Yes, after 84 days, it has been scientifically proven that you have maximum amount of antibodies. That is why the duration is concerned that way. As far as the certificate is concerned, that is totally dependent on whether you have registered while taking the second dose. If you have registered, then if you have registered for the second dose, obviously you will get the certificate.
Right, sir.
Or if somebody is not registered and then taken the vaccine, they would have to register again after the 84 days of the first dose, so that then they would be able to take the certificate.
Yes, sir. Agree. And there's another question also, sir, that was asked by some friend of mine. They wanted to know if you've recently had some COVID-like symptoms, but you weren't tested at that time. So so they're really not sure if that was COVID or not, although they've recovered. And is there any investigation that you need to undergo before you actually go in for the first shot of the vaccine, or would they need some testing before that?
No, again, as per the recent guideline which has come up from the government, you do not need to prove yourself or get tested before getting vaccinated, unless and until you're symptomatic. If you're asymptomatic, you don't need to get tested, neither a PCR nor a rapid antigen test, to prove yourself negative before getting a vaccine done. But then, yes, if you're symptomatic, then hold on. Don't rush for the vaccine, get yourself tested. If you're positive, give a gap of 3 months. But then if you've been asymptomatic, it's not necessary to get tested.
Okay, sir. And Hafsabaji, do you think any more questions that might help the public that we could ask Dr. Vijendra?
Most of the questions I think have been answered. About that 84 days, Maria, it's a government mandate. The 84 days is a government mandate, and you will not be allowed to register before 84 days. And hence, you will not get the certificate.
Also, another thing.
Scientifically, I think you can take the second shot even after 4 weeks. But the government has mandated 84 days. So we all have taken at the end of 4 weeks, and we are all fine. So
yes.
Actually speaking, now you wouldn't even get an appointment for the second dose even before the finishing of 84 days. Even if you try, you will get an appointment.
And that's why we have this vaccination with Rainbow Hospital. We have arranged for a separate site for vaccination with Rainbow's help for people who are not able to get slots in spite of trying after 84 days.
Iram, there's some more questions that Dr. Vijendra will be happy to answer, I'm sure. One of them was, is it okay to take vaccine for a person with sinus history? Presently, sinus is under control. I think you've answered that, but please comment on that.
If somebody has an active respiratory infection, then you need to wait, because I've said, if you're having a concurrent infection, or if you have any hospital admission currently, hold on for your recovery, and then maybe 4 weeks after your present infection you can take it. But then if you feel your present infection is under control, then yes, you can go and take the COVID vaccine.
And the same one, same answer I suppose would apply for Ghafoor, who's asked, can a person take vaccine suffering from osteomyelitis?
That they can take it right away, because again, there's no absolute contraindication for osteomyelitis to be taken. That shouldn't be a problem.
Very good. There's a question about had a positive COVID antibody test a few weeks ago, have never had severe COVID symptoms, so don't know when I was infected. Do I still need to take the vaccine? I think you've answered that.
Yeah. You need to, whether you've had a symptomatic infection or an asymptomatic infection. And luckily, yes, you've got antibodies now, which means that you were exposed to a COVID infection. You might not be knowing about it. It could have been an asymptomatic infection, but At the same time, even if your antibodies are positive, you don't know how long they're going to last. They may last for another month, another 2 months, maybe next week they're gone. There's no scientific evidence proving that a natural infection would lead to the longevity of antibodies. But then yes, a vaccine would help you develop long-term antibodies. And then even once that you're infected and then recovered, you might still have antibodies. A vaccine would build on that. Super added protection you get, which will be long lasting.
Excellent. There's a very specific question that we might have to answer offline, Iram, about the same person asking, I have an option of waiting to travel back to UK. Would you advise to wait and take the vaccine there when travel permitted, or should I take the vaccine here now? That's very specific. We need to know when the travel is and the duration between the first and the second dose.
It depends upon the regulations also. If UK asks you to come vaccinated, then obviously, yes, you need to be vaccinated.
And there's a Dr. Zishan who's asked, paralysis a side effect of vaccine? Any knowledge about that?
Not that anything has been proven till now.
Yeah.
Again,
Agreed.
this has been related to the query clotting kind of episodes, but then whatever cases have been discussed or talked about till now, none of them have been directly related to the vaccine as such. It could have been because of the patient's underlying medical illnesses, and then it has been overblown to be related to the vaccine.
Very good. I think the questions and the answers are brilliant as well. Great to have you here. There's Dr. R.C. Beloria as well, who's worked very well with the Access team in spreading this information about the vaccines. And I don't know if she would want to ask any of the common questions that she's been faced with.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Dr. Vijender.
Yeah, hi.
It was very nice hearing to your session. Congratulations for that. It's very crisp and clear. I think all the doubts has been cleared out. Mostly all the things are cleared, but nowadays they're telling one thing which is a query is that Covaxin is not on the list of WHO approved vaccines. And it will be needed for the air travel, for the international travel especially. So this is a new apprehension of the public here. It comes in waves as the pandemic comes. Sometimes they want Covaxin, sometimes they want Covishield. Can you just throw some light on that? As I heard that it will be coming up on WHO list soon. What are your opinion about that?
Yep. It's a made in India indigenous vaccine. The government of India would be doing everything to make sure that it gets the WHO nod, because no country would want their vaccine not to be included on the list of WHO. So yes, very soon it would come. But then if somebody is getting a travel restricted because of this, saying like whether I should be taking a Covishield or a Covaxin based on this, then I would still suggest take Covishield for the time being, if you have to like be sure about it.
Yeah, so that's what you're telling, that mostly it will not come up on WHA's list?
It will.
That's what you're speculating?
Covaxin will come on the WHO list.
Okay, can't see any other questions.
I had one. I mean, just so that people know what it is like. So we usually talk about anaphylaxis, Dr. Vijendra. So are there any red flag symptoms or signs that the patient might face after taking the vaccine and they are panicking that I'm having this, I'm having that, do I need to consult my physician? So if you could just tell what all could, mandate the patient to be, contacting the physician post-vaccine.
Okay, now a severe anaphylactic reaction, one would easily know. That is why, like for a minimum of 30 minutes to 1 hour, you're asked to stay back. Severe allergy could be anything from up to severe rash to difficulty in breathing, choking episodes. All these would be very much obvious. You don't have to look out for it. It's very obvious, and then you would be needing medical assistance. That is why what I would personally prefer is like if you've had a history of allergy, or if you suspect that you've reacted before and then now you're taking a vaccine, considering that your physician has said that, okay, fine, go ahead. take your vaccine in a medical facility. Do not try to take it at a camp or at an office setup. Try to take your vaccine in a medical facility where there's sufficient protection, so that you do have medical assistance available. Only this applies to only those cases who feel that they've had a severe allergic response before. This doesn't apply to all. Others who have not had any allergic reaction can still go and then take vaccines at any of the camps that are being set up throughout the country.
Right, Dr. Videndra. Thank you so much. Any other questions, please, from any members attending the session?
Somebody had asked about the effect, like whether the vaccine affects fertility. No, it doesn't.
Yes, please.
It doesn't affect the fertility of
Yes.
anybody.
That's doing such rounds on social media that I mean the people who are driven so very well to take the vaccine also are holding themselves back. Yes, and as Dr. Vijender very specifically pointed it out, please do not listen to any information from unreliable sources. WhatsApp University of Medical Sciences is not the right place to go for queries and all. He has mentioned such beautiful sites. Please take information from there. Any other questions, please? Yeah, there's another question, Dr. Vijendra. In fact, I wanted to ask this too. There have been friends that have been asking that I've had very bad and severe allergy reaction to certain kind of food or certain kind of drug, and I've needed a hospital admission for that. Do you really think I'm susceptible to be getting an anaphylactic reaction to the vaccine? I think you've already partially answered it earlier, but if you could just clarify that again, I think it would be very useful.
Okay, now this is very specific. An allergy to peanuts.
Yes.
Now, if you've seen the contents of the vaccine, none of the vaccines contain any animal or vegetable substance. Okay, so an allergy to peanuts may or may not translate to an allergic response even to the COVID vaccine. But then at the same time, the government of India and the directives recommend that for anybody who's had a severe allergic response to any like medication, contents of the vaccine, or a food, you're supposed to consult your physician, take the vaccine under the supervision of your consultant, and then take it in a hospital so that you're like attended to.
Okay, sir. Thank you. And Mummy, you were probably asking something.
Iram, there was a question about
Ji,
immediately after vaccine, can we take simple medications like paracetamol, etc., ice pack at pain site?
Yes, you can take paracetamol. That is the only drug allowed to take immediately post-vaccination. Do not try to experiment with newer drugs. If you're feeling nauseatic, do not try to take antiemetics. Do not try to take antidiarrheals or whatever. The only medication allowed immediately post-vaccination is paracetamol. There have been some random reports saying like people have taken few drugs and then they've landed up with some or the other adverse reaction. It has scientifically not been proven, but then yes, it's always safe to just use paracetamol because that is what everyone is using. That is what is recommended to be safe. As far as the pain and all is concerned, do not try to fiddle around with the injection site. Do not apply any medication on the site. Just hold on. 24 to 48 hours, it will all get subsided. And remember that side effect is good to have.
I'm really liking these simple, direct answers. Thank you.
very much, truly.
Yeah, I have a question. I had received a call from a person yesterday saying that her father had suffered with the COVID and he has recovered. They are back home from the hospital. After the very next day, he started behaving in a very weird manner, like removing his clothes or going and sitting outside near the dustbin. He's behaving in a weird manner. So she was really confused. Is it because of the medications or is it that he's having some psychiatric problem? So what do you think went wrong with him?
Okay, this is a little off track, but then what I would say is like neither the disease nor the medication would cause this. This would be most probably being a psychosocial effect that the person has had. Maybe he or she would have been very scared of COVID and then they've had a traumatic experience in the hospital, wherever they've been, and then they were not ready to take this in this span of time. That's what I would say.
So you advise him to go to a psychiatrist, consult a psychiatrist.
If need be, yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, doctor. Thank you.
Very good.
There's another question, Umair Bhaiya.
Yeah, after second dose, my brother got shingles. Is it normal?
Again, that would not be related to the vaccine. It could just be a co-infection. Shingles is not a proven side effect of any of the vaccines you know of.
Yeah. Thank you. Coincidence, as
Yeah, I
Dr.
would like
Hafsa said.
to tell here, add on here, shingles actually happens, it is caused by herpes zoster. So whenever the immunity gets down, so that times it comes. So they have correlated many times. Some people have asked me also questions that does the vaccine causes different immunity, and because of that shingles, many people are getting shingles at that time after the vaccine. Maybe not vaccine, it's correlated to vaccine. But I would like to tell it here on this forum because it's related to vaccine. No, only when the immunity dips down, the shingles come because it stays in the body at the nerve endings, and when the immunity is down. But it is correlated to the vaccine, and they say that because of vaccine, the immunity has gone down. That's why they have got shingles. But it's not related to that. Thank you.
Thanks, RC. Iram, I think we've taken enough of Dr. Vijendra's time.
Ji, Umair Bhaiya.
No, I'm
You
more
want
than
to wrap
welcome
up?
to any more questions if they are there, actually.
Yeah, no, it was really good. Thank you. Iram, do you want to vote of thanks, or is there somebody
Yes,
else doing
Actually
that?
speaking, when I was asked to take this talk by Dr. Hafsa, I would like first thank Dr. Hafsa to me worthy to take this talk. Then I would thank Maria and Dr. Iram also to guide me through the initial part of it. I had asked Dr. Iram saying what do you want me to do in this, and what are you trying to extract from this talk? And then she
yes.
said, I want everybody who's listening to this get vaccinated. So yes, if there are people in this session who are still not vaccinated and you have any concerns, even now, at the end of this hour, I would want at least a minimum of 200 plus people who have not been vaccinated to go and then get their shot. If you still have any concern, please speak. Please speak up right now. We are there to answer.
Yes, Dr. Vijendra had asked me what exactly do you want out of this session as the end result. All I told him was I want a queue outside the vaccination center and I want the people to get vaccinated. I don't know how you do it. I don't know what makes you do it, but please do it in such a way that I see people standing outside the vaccination centers. And Dr. Vijendra, trust me, you've answered the question so very well that I'm sure that's going to happen tomorrow maybe. Thanks a lot.
I hope so.
Yes.
Okay. I think that is it.
There's one question over here.
Yeah, there's something about hair fall. Post-COVID infection, yes, it has been seen and proven that people have had hair fall, moderate to severe hair fall post-COVID infection, not after the vaccine. Possibly you've recovered from COVID infection and then got vaccinated, or this is completely unrelated to the COVID infection or the COVID vaccine.
Any other questions, please? There's one, Dr. Vijendra. Any precautions to be taken for asthmatics before going in for the vaccination?
Again, now, asthmatics could be on steroids. That would be one thing. So yes, asthmatics could be immunosuppressed a lot. They have to take the vaccine. They can't avoid taking the vaccine. But then again, let your treating physician know that you're going for the vaccine. They will tell you better. But then as far as asthmatics, whether they should or not, yes, they should.
Right. So maybe I think this is it. I mean, I don't see many more questions.
Yeah,
So-
I think because Dr. Vijendra has also offered that outside this call, he will be available for some questions. If there is a list that we get, then we can pass on to him. And yeah, he can answer those and we can communicate to the rest of the audience.
Ji, ma'am.
There's one, that final question, Covishield or Covaxin?
Forever. How
Yeah,
many
that should be
hours
a
you
question
speak, this will
forever.
remain forever.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Now, if there's one answer, you just take what you're getting. That's it.
Yes.
I cannot
Yeah.
say anything else. I've given
Any vaccine better than no vaccine?
Yes. Both have a clinical efficacy of more than 80% currently, and both are equally safe. You can take any one of them. Each one is like considered to be better than the other at some or the other aspect, and each one has some or the other side effect. So there's nothing that outweighs the other, and then you can take any one of them actually.
Right. Hafsabaji, would you like to say something, or should I? Any words
Just
that
a
you
very
want?
big thank you to Vijender.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks a lot, Vijender, for
Thank you.
agreeing so readily and for such a beautiful presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vijender. Thank you.
There's a
Thank you.
compliment that has come just now in the chat box. I am satisfied and I'm going for the vaccination. So I think that is the victory of the session.
Wow.
Wow.
And that was
I'll
actually the
find
aim
at
of
least
the
one
session.
person to go and get vaccinated.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vijendra.
Very good.
It is going to drive hundreds of people towards the vaccination. I really can't thank you enough. We as Access can't thank you enough, Dr. Vijendra. I think the best way possible to thank you would be going and taking the vaccination. That
Yes.
could be the best end result.
Yes.
Let's fight the disease hard. Let's fight it together. I think that's the only way we can maybe, get over this terrible pandemic. Thanks a lot, Dr. Vijendra. Thanks on behalf of the
Thanks,
whole
everyone.
Access team
Thank
and
you
its
so
members. Thanks a lot. It was such a pleasure having you here. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
everybody who's attended it. Thank you very much.